Hi, this is Jim Seamus.
And Andrew Mathis from the Santa Cruz Sentinel with double coverage for this week's preview of the Week 2 slate. Let's get right into it. Irvington, 1-1. They are from Fremont. They're going to be traveling down to Santa Cruz, taking on the Cardinals Friday night, 7 p.m. Probably be a run-heavy contest.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz obviously always runs the football. Irvington does pretty much the same. They're led by quarterback Jack Shank, who has run for 240 yards already on 22 carries. What are you kind of expecting?
Well, I'm expecting an improved effort defensively out of Santa Cruz. That's what they need. So, it's their third running opponent that they're facing. They need to show some sort of improvement.
Yeah. They let up 520 yards of total offense last week against Watsonville, and they were kind of running a spread option. Yeah. We don't know exactly what Irvington is running, but the stats show that they very rarely pass the ball. So.
Next up on our slate on Friday evening is St. Francis at Marina. The Sharks are 0-2. Marina is 0-0. What are you thinking this week?
Well, we don't really know anything about Marina. They have a new head coach. They got a late start on everything. They had a 7-on-7 camp that they canceled. They canceled their jamboree at Santa Cruz Coast Athletic League, and they canceled their first game.
Yeah.
They got a late start with coaches and everything, and getting pads out. That's why they canceled everything. So this is their first start.
I'm predicting a no contest either way.
Yeah.
If they play, I think the Sharks are going to win, and if they lose, I just don't think they're going to show up, quite honestly. That's not a challenge to Marina. Like I said, they haven't played a jamboree. They had to cancel their first game. They have limited numbers. I don't see them making this game, but hey, we'll see. Next up on our slate is Scotts Valley again at La Grande. Both teams 1-1.
Yeah, Scotts Valley just got back from Texas. Now they're driving 3 hours to Central California to take on La Grande.
Yeah.
La Grande, of course, is the defending Sac Joaquin section champion in Division 4. They went to the state bowl game, lost. That was their only loss last year. But they graduated 14 players from last year's team, a lot of key players.
Yeah, both pretty rich programs, though, historically.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a steady dose of Ari Oregon for Scotts Valley, but I just don't know. I think there's another road game. I think it's going to be a tough battle for Scotts Valley. Initially, at the outset of the season, I thought that Scotts Valley could be 1-3 at best. They have a brutal preseason.
Yeah.
And I kind of have La Grande winning this thing.
Okay. The Black and Blue Bowl, Watsonville versus Aptos, is probably the second biggest game on the slate this week. There's going to be a lot to be learned, I think, from both teams after this. Watsonville, of course, is coming off a huge win over Santa Cruz. They posted 44 points, 520 yards. Aptos is 0-2, but two tough opponents. They lost by 1 point to Encinal, and they got kind of blown out by Oakdale. But who do you got? This is going to be a great game.
Yeah. I really feel that way. But, Aptos' offense is clearly missing Riggs Powell.
Yeah.
Our player of the year last year. But defensively, they're staying in ball games. They're playing people tough. This is a coin flip because Wattsville looked great last week against Santa Cruz with Roger Contreras and Eddie Morris. This is a coin flip. I can't choose.
Who do you think has more to prove, do you think?
Definitely Aptos.
Yeah.
I really feel Aptos as defending league champion has to step it up a notch and get this win against this rival.
Yeah. Now, easily the biggest game of the week and maybe one of the biggest games of the year, conference or non-conference, is Seaside visiting Soquel. Both these teams are favored to win their leagues, Seaside and the NBL Pacific Division, Soquel in the Santa Cruz Coast Athletic League. Soquel's course is led by their double-wing attack, Fabio and Hale, Ryan Reyes, Isaac Moreno. Seaside can do both things, pass and run.
It's going to be a crazy, high-scoring game.
Yeah.
You could see a broken scoreboard, something in triple digits, if not from one team, at least both combined.
Yeah.
A 60-50 game guaranteed. That's what my money, I'm not betting, but that's what my money says. This game should be a touchdown a minute type game. I don't see either team bending much, but I like the Knights. I really do. Them playing at home and the fact that they beat them last year. I don't care who Seaside adds. I think the Knights are really well coached this year. I think they'll do it again this Friday night. Also Friday, Monte Vista Christian unbeaten at 2-0 at Gilroy, winless at 0-2.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
This is definitely going to be their MVC's biggest test so far in the season. The Del Mar, Brain Christian, mean, maybe MVC's offense is that good, and they just make every other team look like a pushover.
Yeah.
I guess, who knows?
Yeah.
But Gilroy should be their best test. They got the area's leading running back in Brandon Boyd.
Yeah.
More than 400 yards already in 2 games. So far, he's their guy, and he's the biggest running back stud, I guess, in the area.
Yeah, clearly he's not a game changer. I mean, he's a game changer, but he's not the deal breaker. You know, they're 0-2.
Yeah.
So where are they lacking? So I think that, maybe Monte Vista Christian, with all their numerous weapons and blowing people out, that they're just going to have too much to contain. So Cabrillo's looking for his first win of the season on the road. What are you thinking?
I mean, it's going to come down to the pass defense. Cabrillo allowed 303 total yards last weekend against Los Medanos, 218 of which came in the air. And then Deanza enters as the #1 passing team in the NorCal Conference. Josh McCain is their signal caller. Almost 500 yards so far, 6 TDs, but the issue might be the 7 picks that he's thrown so far.
Yeah.
How was Cabrillo's pass defense last week?
They swarmed the ball well, but I thought they were lacking a little bit with the bigger play. Receivers dropping into zones and picking up some big gains.
Yeah.
If they shore that up, I think they'll be much better. Moving things over to Saturday, we have Hillsdale winless at 0-2 at SLV 1-1. How do you think things are going to shape up there?
I mean, I think it's a good game for the Cougars to get back on track. Last weekend, 7 takeaways, and they ended up losing. They ended up on the short end of the stick against Edison. They had 6 picks in that game, also got a fumble recovery.
Yeah.
But the offense didn't score any points. They both touchdowns were scored off interception returns. Hillsdale lost a handful of key guys from last year's team, and they run a spread attack, and they're doing it with a new varsity newcomer named Cole Carithers. Don't know much about him, but I can't say that that's not a good sign. The varsity newcomer to a spread attack, basically.
Yeah, I've never seen SLV play bad 2 games in a row. So if they do it here, then maybe it's just a rebuilding year. I don't know. It's hard to say because if they don't beat Hillsdale or keep this thing super duper close, I don't see them being competitive in this league this year. So I know it's kind of a big statement for just a non-league game, but
huge statement for a non-league game.
But I mean, they're obviously SLV's a defensive-led team. That offense is going to improve as the year goes on with a sophomore quarterback, but there's got to be some growth this game, and they've got to win this game.
Yeah. Speaking of which, teams trying to get back on track. The Harbor Pirates will be visiting Mills in Millbrae on Saturday at 2 p.m. Mills is 0-1-1, still searching for their first win. Last weekend, Harbor went down to Stevenson, a team I thought they were going to kind of roll over. Yeah. Stevenson only had 17 players, but couldn't get going offensively. Penalties, turnovers, couldn't get going defensively. Allowed more than 200 yards rushing. This should be a game that Harbor can win. I mean, we were talking 4-0 for Harbor. So
seriously,
yeah.
I want to see this Jekyll and Hyde act to disappear.
Yeah.
I want to see Harbor show that they're for real. They obviously have a decent amount of returning players, a veteran offensive front, and a quality running back in Garrett Fonseca. I expect Milo Small, their quarterback, to mature immensely from that loss, and I look forward to them to bouncing back. And our final game of the weekend has Gonzales 0-1 versus Paro Valley 0-2 at Watsonville High on Saturday evening. Paro Valley needs to bounce back from last week's loss. We know they have a young team as well, and we know they have a good running back. But what is it going to take for them to beat this team they face this week?
I think this is a game PV could win.
Yeah.
They have an 11-game winless streak going back to last season. And Anthony Cantrell, which we mentioned earlier, already has more than 300 yards rushing on the season. He has been I don't know about the lone bright spot, but one of the few bright spots for PV so far this season. Right. And like you said, they are young. He was one of the main returners. He's their main guy, and he'll be the main guy if they're going to win this weekend.
Well, I can tell you that teams are scouted, and Gonzales knows all about this guy, and they'll probably try and throw the house at him to try and shut him down and force him to get something else done. I expect him to have a big game, but he's also going to touch the ball 32 times. That said, I don't think things look great for Paro Valley right now, and we addressed their youth earlier, but I just don't see them getting off the schneid this week. All right, so stay tuned Sunday, and we'll have a weekend wrap-up of this week's slate.